I truly believe that if there ever was a time in human evolution when we have the opportunity as older women to find the right partner, that time is now. Today, more people went out on their last first date with somebody they met on the internet rather than a friend. It is a wonderful time for women of any age, but certainly older women who don't want to stand in a bar and get all fluffed up for that, to find really true love. Get on to one of these dating sites. They work. When you get onto the dating site, one of the biggest problems is what scientists call cognitive overload. You begin to see so many people that you end up going out with none of them. So I recommend that after you've met 9 people, stop meeting new people and get to know at least one of them better. Because the data show that the more you get to know somebody, the more you like them and the more you think that they are like you. So after meeting 9 people, stop and get to know somebody better. Go out with them several times. The second thing I would say on the internet is that when you first meet somebody, you overweight those few things that you know about them. And so you can just say, oh, well, he's got brown shoes, I want somebody with black shoes, you know. Get past that. If you like them at all, think of reasons to say yes. Go out a second time, go out a third time. That brain circuitry for romantic love is like a sleeping cat. It can be awakened at any moment. The first time you meet the person or 2 years down the road. A lot of older women think that men are looking for somebody who's 20 years younger, 30 years younger. That's not what the data shows. The data do indicate that the older a man gets, the more likely he's going to go out with a woman who's 8 years younger rather than 2 years younger. But most older men really do not want a young woman because they don't want another family. They do want a woman who's energetic, who's lively, who's interesting, who's functioning, and who's in love with them. And older women simply need to get dressed properly and get out there. A lot of psychologists will tell you what to do to maintain a happy relationship. They're probably all good. What I'm trying to add is what the brain says about a happy relationship. And I and my colleagues have put people in brain scanners who've been in long-term happy relationships. And these are the brain regions that become active. A brain region linked with empathy, a brain region linked with controlling your own emotions, and a brain region linked with what we call positive illusions, the ability to overlook what you don't like about a human being and focus on what you do. I have a personal example of positive illusions. For many, many years, I went out with a man who was really slow, really slow. He walked slowly, he talked slowly, he thought slowly, really slow. Drove me crazy. But when we went to a museum, he would look very carefully at a painting and analyze every detail of it. He read me almost all of Shakespeare. He read me things like The Magic Mountain. And we would go to dinner and we'd have long, detailed conversations about a play that we just saw. And so I would say to myself, Helen, he walks so slowly and talks so slowly. But what I get from that is a person who will explore whole intellectual worlds with me at the right pace. Nobody's going to compromise on the fundamentals, particularly older people. They've done it, they've been there, they're not doing that again. I think that's one of the great strengths of going back on the dating market. You know more about yourself. You really know what you cannot tolerate. And you're not going to spend years trying to change somebody, as the young often do. If I really had to sum up what the brain says about a long-term partnership, number one, positive illusions. Overlook what you don't like, focus on what you do. Practice empathy for the person. Control your own emotions. Go do novel things together. Sustains feelings of intense romantic love. Stay in touch, sustains feelings of deep attachment, and have sex with the person, which drives up all 3 of these brain systems: the sex drive, romantic love, and feelings of attachment. And apparently, if you really want to keep love alive, say at least 3 very nice things to your partner every day. Apparently, it not only helps your partner be in love with you, but when you say nice things to somebody else, a good compliment that's sincere, real, appropriate, and striking, it actually lowers cortisol in you, the stress hormone, and boosts your immune system. So it's good to say nice things to your partner, not only for him or her, but for yourself as well. When I asked the question on my Match.com annual survey, how many orgasms, what percentage of the time do you have an orgasm with a familiar partner? People over 60s were the best at it. They've had enough practice, they know who the person is, they've learned to ask for what they want and what they need and what they know they need. They're willing to give to the other partner. So I would be willing to say that sex gets better as you age. One of the problems with older women is that they've been out of the dating market for quite a while and they somehow assume that they're not going to get any kinds of diseases. That's not true. And in fact, we see more and more older women getting really serious diseases from unprotected sex. And they're educated. They can learn this. And men are very willing to please. But the woman has to drive the conversation and make sure that the sex is safe. There's a great many benefits to being in love. First of all, there's a great many benefits to good sex. It's not only good for the eyes and the skin and the heart and the lungs and the bladder and your sense of humor, and it can act even as an antidepressant. So sex with a loving partner is very good for you. And people who are in love with their partners live longer and have more fun in life. It's important to get back out there. You know, we are in a different generation than in the past. 100 years ago, once your partner died, you moved in with your children and were just a grandparent. Even your children don't want you to move in and just be a grandparent. They want you to find a sweetheart. They want their parents happy. And indeed, courtship and love is the supreme happiness of the human animal.